Have you seen this before? It's 5:00 p.m. on the dot. A Gen Z colleague calmly packs their bag. Their millennial manager, looking up from a mountain of emails, glances over with a hint of surprise. "Leaving already? We still have that deck to..." And the response comes back light as air. "Yep, I'll get to it tomorrow." That millennial manager's face, a perfect blend of confusion and reluctant admiration. Is that quiet quitting? And why did this term seemingly overnight explode across social media and become inextricably linked with Generation Z? Let's be clear, quiet quitting isn't about actually quitting your job. It's a psychological phenomenon, a quiet declaration of boundaries. It's a trend that has sent a shockwave through boardrooms and sparked 1,000 debates. A 2023 Gallup poll revealed that over 50% of the U.S. workforce under 35 identifies with some form of quiet quitting. This isn't just a buzzword, it's a seismic alarm bell about the way we work live and value our time. Today we're decoding it all. What exactly is quiet quitting? Why is Gen Z championing this movement, and what does it tell us about the future of work? If you want to truly understand this phenomenon and avoid the costly misunderstandings that could lose you, your best talent, hit that subscribe button for GENSHIFT now and get access to more exclusive deep dives. Part 1, Deconstructing the Buzzword. So what are we really talking about when we say quiet quitting? The term first surfaced on TikTok in March 2022, when career coach Brian Creeley used it to describe employees who were still on the job but had quit the idea of going above and beyond. It went viral when user Zayed Khan crystallized the concept in a 17-second video, stating it's not about being lazy, but about no longer subscribing to the hustle culture mentality that work has to be your life. In essence, quiet quitting means doing your job as described in your contract and nothing more. It's acting your wage. No more unpaid overtime, no more volunteering for extra projects that aren't your responsibility, no more answering emails at 10 p.m. It's a conscious withdrawal of what leadership experts call discretionary effort. This isn't an entirely new idea. It has roots in movements like China's Tangping or lying flat, a protest against the grueling 996 work culture, working 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. But the pandemic was the catalyst that brought this sentiment to the global stage. It forced a collective reevaluation of work life and the blurry line between them. Crucially, it's different from being disengaged. Gallup defines disengaged employees as those who are psychologically detached and just doing the minimum. But quiet quitting is often a more deliberate, conscious choice, a form of self-preservation against burnout and a quiet protest against a system that often demands more than it compensates. It's a response, not just a state of being. And understanding that response is key to understanding the modern workplace. Part 2, the Vanguard. Why Gen Z is leading the charge. So why has Gen Z become the face of this movement? It's not because they're lazy or entitled. It's because they entered the workforce with a completely different set of experiences and, frankly, a front row seat to the burnout of the generation just before them, the Millennials. Gen Z's professional lives began under the shadow of unprecedented global instability. They witnessed the COVID-19 pandemic upend the world, followed by economic turmoil and widespread layoffs. They saw companies that demanded years of loyalty from their millennial employees lay them off in a single Zoom call. The lesson was brutal and clear: going above and beyond does not guarantee job security. This created a deep-seated pragmatism. McKinsey's research reveals that Gen Z has the least positive life outlook of any generation, fueled by financial anxiety and global unrest. According to Deloitte's 2025 survey, nearly half of Gen Z, 48%, feel financially insecure, and the cost of living is their number one concern. They are keenly aware that the old rules no longer apply. This skepticism is backed by data. A stunning CNBC survey found that 47% of Gen Z workers say they are just coasting at work, compared to only 40% who are thriving, the inverse of every older generation. Yet the same survey found that an overwhelming 92% of them value engaging work. This isn't a contradiction, it's a disconnect. They want to be engaged, but they find themselves in entry-level roles that they feel are uninspiring and offer little autonomy. So they make a calculated choice. Instead of pouring their energy into a system they perceive as unstable and unrewarding, they set firm boundaries. They saw millennials burn out chasing a corporate carrot that often turned out to be a mirage. Gen Z looked at that, did the math, and decided to invest their energy elsewhere in their mental health, their personal lives, and their side hustles. They are not rejecting work, they are rejecting the exploitation of their labor. Part 3, the precedent. How millennials' hustle paved the way for Gen Z's boundaries. To truly understand Gen Z's reaction, we have to look at the generation that set the stage, millennials. If Gen Z is quiet quitting, it's because they watched millennials loudly burn out. Crisis. They faced staggering unemployment rates and crippling student loan debt. Job security was a myth. In this climate of precarity, a new work philosophy took hold: do what you love. It was a beautiful idea championed by visionaries like Steve Jobs. But in a brutal economy, it mutated into something toxic: hustle culture. Hustle culture became the millennial survival strategy. It glorified working 60-plus hour weeks, turning hobbies into side hustles, and treating work not as a job, but as an identity. It was an era where being perpetually busy was a status symbol. But this relentless grind came at a tremendous cost. Millennials became the burnout generation. The constant pressure, the blurring of work-life boundaries, and the feeling that they were never doing enough led to epidemic levels of stress and anxiety. And then the pandemic hit. After a decade of hustling, many millennials found themselves exhausted, questioning everything. A Harvard Business Review study found that after the pandemic, millennials were 3 times more likely than other groups to reevaluate their work priorities. They had played by the rules of hustle culture and found the rewards lacking. Gen Z watched all of this. They saw their older siblings and first managers running on fumes, sacrificing their mental health for jobs that didn't always love them back. And they learned a powerful lesson from it. Gen Z's quiet quitting isn't a rejection of millennials. It's the application of the hard-won wisdom that millennials are only now beginning to embrace. They are simply starting their careers where many millennials wish they had, with clear, unapologetic boundaries. Have you ever felt like you were quiet quitting? Or do you have colleagues who show the signs? Share your story or your take on quiet quitting in the comments below. We're genuinely curious to hear from you. Part 4, the double-edged sword. Is quiet quitting good or bad? The debate around quiet quitting is fierce because it's not simply good or bad, it's both. Its impact depends entirely on your perspective. From a positive angle, quiet quitting is a powerful antidote to burnout. By setting firm boundaries, employees protect their mental and physical health. A 2021 HBR study found that 68% of millennials and Gen Z have left jobs for mental health reasons, a clear sign that the old way of working is unsustainable. Quiet quitting forces employees to reclaim their personal time, which can lead to a healthier, more balanced life. For companies, this can be a much-needed wake-up call. It signals that management practices are failing and that the unspoken contract of expecting free overtime labor is no longer acceptable. It can compel leaders to focus on fair workloads, better compensation, and genuine employee well-being. However, the downsides are significant. For the individual, consistently doing the bare minimum can lead to career stagnation. You may be overlooked for promotions, miss out on skill-building opportunities, and become less competitive in the job market. It can also lead to a sense of purposelessness and boredom, making work a source of dread rather than fulfillment. For the organization, the consequences are stark. Gallup's 2024 data shows that employee engagement has stagnated globally, with a staggering 62% of employees falling into the quiet quitter category. This widespread disengagement crushes productivity, stifles innovation, and poisons team morale, as the most engaged employees are left to carry the extra weight. The collective impact is massive. Gallup estimates this low engagement costs the global economy a jaw-dropping $8.9 trillion per year. Quiet quitting may be a personal solution, but it points to a systemic problem with enormous consequences. Part 5. The path forward. Insights for a post-hustle world. So where do we go from here? Quiet quitting isn't a trend to be defeated. It's a signal to be understood. It's forcing a necessary evolution in how we manage, motivate, and define success at work. For managers, especially millennials now leading Gen Z teams, the message is clear. The command and control era is over. Research from Harvard Business Review is unequivocal. Quiet quitting is less about lazy employees and more about ineffective managers. The data shows the worst managers have 3 to 4 times as many quiet quitters on their teams. The solution starts with building trust. This means listening to your Gen Z employees, understanding that they often quiet quit because their contributions feel unrecognized or the workload feels meaningless. The path forward involves providing clarity by setting measurable goals, assigning meaningful work that connects to a larger purpose, and consistently recognizing effort. For Gen Z employees, if you feel the need to quiet quit, view it as a diagnostic tool. It's a sign that your current role or environment may not be the right fit. Instead of silently disengaging long-term, which can harm your own career momentum, use it as a catalyst. It's a signal to initiate a frank conversation with your manager about your workload and career goals. If that fails, it's a sign to seek an environment that better aligns with your values, one that rewards your contributions fairly and respects your need for balance. Ultimately, quiet quitting is reshaping our expectations of our engagement and loyalty. The future of work is moving away from a culture of face time and toward a culture of outcomes. Trends like results-only work environments, radical flexibility, and a focus on holistic employee well-being are not just perks anymore. They are the new strategic imperatives for attracting and retaining talent in a post-hustle world. Conclusion: quiet quitting. It's a controversial term, but there's no denying it has forced a critical global conversation about the meaning of work and the sanctity of personal boundaries. This is more than a fleeting TikTok trend. It is the collective voice of a generation demanding balance and purpose in a world defined by volatility. Whether you see it as a savvy act of self-preservation or a passive-aggressive retreat, quiet quitting has compelled us all, managers and employees alike, to re-examine what it means to be dedicated and how that dedication should be valued and rewarded. It's a symptom of a much larger shift in the workplace where the relentless hustle is finally giving way to a search for something more sustainable, more human, and more meaningful. So quiet quitting, is it a wise choice to protect your well-being or a negative attitude that hinders growth? Let us know your perspective in the comments. And if you found this video insightful, hit that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss our next deep dive into the cultural trends shaping the future of our work and our world.